Perfect squares are called that because there are numbers that create a perfect square. It would be a number multiplied by itself. So it is a number multiplied by itself. And we call that squared. It's a number squared. The reason it's called that is because it makes a square. I'm just going to draw one like as an example. I'm going to do a 3 by 3. So because it looks like a little tic-tac-toe board. So if you draw this, do you see how this is 3 units by 3 units, what I just drew there? And how many little boxes are there total? Do you see how there are 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is a perfect square. It's 3 by 3. What's another example of a number that's a perfect square? Like a number of boxes that would make a perfect square.
6.
Which would be how much? 36 would be 1. 6 by 6. Do you get what we're saying here? Okay, numbers that make a perfect square. Does anyone play Minecraft? My kid plays Minecraft, and I feel like that helps so much with this, like making squares. Do you know what I'm saying? Because everything boxes with them. So anyway, I'm going to go over a little bit of vocabulary here. Go ahead and draw that symbol. That symbol is called a radical, which is just a cool word. The symbol is called a radical. People call it a square root symbol, but we're going to do other types of roots too. So it's not necessarily just a square root. It's called a radical symbol. All right. Now there's going to be a little number that's out front. That number is called the index. And it is important for you to know that word because I'm going to be like, hey, look at the index. So whatever number is outside of that is your index. We still together? And then whatever the stuff is that is underneath, and I just called that X, that's called the radicand. You guys are going to actually have to stop talking at some point over there while I'm going. So the symbol itself is called a radical. The little number out front is the index. That's the most important word you need to know. The stuff underneath is called the radicand. Okay, I'm just going over what it's all called so you know what all the parts are. So let's go over squaring numbers. And people leave out 1 all the time. People forget about 1. Don't forget about 1. 1 squared. 1 times 1. 1. Okay, good. I'm hoping this part goes sort of quick. If you know your times tables, it will. 2 times 2, 4. And do you get how 4 boxes would make a perfect square?
Yeah.
Of 2 by 2? All right, 3 squared. 9. That's the one I drew the example of. 4 squared. Good. 16. 5 squared. 25. We got 36. Good. 49. Did you learn I ate and I ate? I got sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. Like that one? Okay. Oh, good. Oh, you learned that one? All right, 81. 10 squared. 10 times 10. And again, don't lose sight of the visual. If you had 10 boxes and then 10 boxes, like 10 by 10, the perfect square would have 100 little boxes in it. Does anyone know them any further?
Yeah.
You would get a calculator. You have Desmos, but this is 121. I will be really honest with you. That's as far as I have them memorized. I don't really, yeah, like if I hear them, I'm like, I know that's right. Oh, 196. And then I know this one, 225. So, okay, cool. Were you forced to memorize those at some point? Okay. That's going to help you out here. Now we're going to do that backwards. And it's the same exact thing except backwards. And it's really just a matter of getting used to the symbols. Square root of 1 would be 1. And again, people forget about 1. Don't forget about 1. And that's because 1 squared is 1. We're just doing this backwards. So what would be the square root of 4? Be 2, 3. And yes, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. But do you see what's going on? Like, do you see how it's backwards? So here is what's going to happen. I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to come around group by group and teach it to you individually. Okay, because I feel like that'll go better. What are you doing while I'm with a different group? I'm going to give you the SOL pack. So go ahead and flip to the second page. Now we did most of these in our small groups, but we're going to just do the ones that we missed. So we're looking at this one. The 9 is just there, and you're going to draw 2 little houses. The 9 is just there, and then you're going to draw 2 little houses. And I'm going to share my screen to show you what to do in the calculator. So let me hit share. The number was 360. I see some of you typing it already, which is awesome. How do I type that in to get my table? 360 over X. Then how do I get it to give me the table? Gear, table. Good. And just hit the down arrow until you get to the bottom of the table and keep hitting enter. We need to find a number that's a perfect square. And I wrote the list on the board. So I'm just going to keep going until we get something that's a perfect square that's going to work. 36 times 10. Do you see that there? 10 and 36. Okay. So we're going to do 36 and 10. 9 is just there. Scratch off the 36 because that works. What is your square root of 36? 6. Square root of 10, again, is just that one of them is going to work and one of them's not. And then you just multiply these together. 9 times 6 would be 54. Now the ones at the bottom, I just skipped the last one, so let's just look at that one together. This is like you have the answer we're looking for the question. Draw 2 little houses. One of them's going to keep that 2 in it. And what is 9 squared? You're trying to make it bigger. 9 times 9. 81. And then you just multiply those together. Perfect. Thank you. Beautiful. 162. That went well in the small groups. It just took a long time, but that's okay. I think it was worth it. I am going to have to do this page with us as a whole group though, because otherwise we won't finish. You're going to need to listen. Do you remember on the front page where I brought up that index? The little number out front? For a square root, it's not written, but it is understood to be a 2. For a square root, your index is 2. So here's the $1 million question. Do you understand the difference between an even number and an odd number?
Yes.
Okay. Evens divide by 2. Odds do not. That's what you have to understand to be able to do this. You with me? So what I want you to do is look. Is 9 an even number? No. Draw 2 little houses. What is the next closest number to 9 without going over 9? 8 would be the next closest one that would work. So you're going to have x to the 8th and then a leftover x in the other one. One of them is going to work. One of them is not. Do you see how I split it 8 and 1? And you can put the little 1 there if you want to. Next question, look at the y. Is 2 an even number? Yes. You don't have to split that one. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Just leave it alone. Are we together so far? Okay, you're looking for even numbers. Now we're going to check them off our list as we go. All you have to do is divide by 2. What is 8 divided by 2?
4.
Scratch that one off. It's x to the 4th. This one doesn't work. Forget it. Look at this one. What is 2 divided by 2? 1. Scratch it off. It'll be y to the 1, which you can put a 1 if you want to. And whatever you didn't scratch off is just there. So that square root of x is just there. It's leftovers. It's like we reduced as much as we could, and whatever we couldn't is just leftovers. Let's try it again. Is 4 an even number? Don't do anything to it. Just leave it alone. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave it alone. Is 3 an even number? Draw 2 houses. How would we have to split it so that we can reduce as much of it as possible? B to the 2nd, and then you have 1 that's left over. Now scratch them off. What is this one going to reduce to? You're just dividing by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. You're just dividing by 2. What will this one be? Yeah, b to the 1, which is just b. And then this one is left over. Just leave it. I kind of like these. I think it's honestly easier with the variables. And this one's actually really nice because what do you notice about 4 and 2? It's just divide by 2. What would this reduce to? X to the 2nd and y to the 1, which you don't even have to put the 1. Is 5 an even number? No, draw 2 houses. You want the next closest number to 5 that is an even number, which would be 4. You're probably like, is it always just going to be 1 less? Yep. Scratch it off. What does that reduce to? Y squared, and then that one is just left over. Now these last ones, we're doing the numbers and the variables together. Let's just go ahead and flip over to the back. I'm just going to do a few on the back. You're doing the numbers and the variables together. Let me just pick out a few of these for us to do. Actually, let's do this one because this one's actually going to work. I'll do an easy one to start with. Do the number, then the variables. What is your square root of 100? 10. That just works. And then these you're going to divide by 2. So what would this one be? X to the first. You can put the 1 in there if you want. And then this one, y to the second. That one just worked. We didn't have to build any houses and split anything apart. Now let's do one where we would have to split some stuff apart. Let's do this one right here. I'm just picking and choosing because we're going to run out of time. I'll do this one and then we'll stop with that. Do you see the 3y out front? Just there. It's literally just there. In one of the groups, somebody said, so can we ignore that? Yes, but you still have to write it. Like we're not doing anything with it. Just write it down. Now we're going to look at the 72. You're going to draw 2 little houses. You need 2 numbers that multiply together to be 72. One of them has to be from up here. If you don't know it, in Desmos, type 72 divided by x. So 9 works, but there is one that's bigger, and you have to get the biggest one. Bless you. So let me change this to 72 divided by x, year table. Oh, actually, it's right there. Do you see that? 36 times 2. All right, so 36 and 2. What's that? There are
2 and 36. However, it's still all the way to 36.
yes. Yeah, you can extend the list as far as you want. Now look at this. Is 3 an even number? Draw 2 houses. How will it split? Good, x to the second and x. Is 4 an even number?
Yes.
Don't change it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Now we're going to go through and do our check off the list. The 3y is just there. It is just there. Just write 3y. It is just there. Now, what can I check off the list? All right, that's going to be what? 6. What's the next thing I can check off the list? This one will be x to the 1, which you don't have to put the 1 if you don't want to. And then what's the last thing I can check off the list? Good, that'll be y to the second. Whatever you didn't check off is just leftovers. It's like we did the best we could. This is what's left. So what's still under the square root? What did we not check off? 2x. And then this stuff you just have to multiply together. So like, oh good, where'd you get 18? Because that's correct. 3 times 6. And then we have an x. And then it would be y to the
Third.
Why would it be third? Because that's correct. Yeah, this is 1, and then that's 2 more. 2 plus 1 is 3.